So another quick one for you. This sea of red in front of you is a Watchguard Firebox, a W1000 I think this is. X750E core. So this was this arrived with us from a customer who had tried to convert this over to pfSense, which is eminently doable. There are guides on it, and the customers tried as much as they could do it. We've then had a look, and after wasting a day on it, we've written it off as a bad idea. It turns out that the machine isn't actually really anything to write home about anyway, and it's doubtful whether it could handle the I/O from those 8 ports. So I'm going to end its life now. We're quickly going to take some bits out of it and get it ready for our scrap dealer, and we'll have a quick look, see what's in there. So let's have a lid off. This is, at the end of the day, a PC. There's nothing special in here really. It's all more or less off the shelf parts. So you can see the RAM's already gone from it. We did another system for the same customer. That only had 1 gig of RAM, whereas this had, I believe, 4 in, which suggests it had been upgraded before. And we took the RAM out and chucked it in the other one. So yeah, as you can see, it is more or less a PC. Anyone that's worked on PCs will start to recognise things. There are some issues with this that make it subtly more difficult than it possibly should be to work on it. But what I'm going to do is just quickly flick this case out, and we'll pop the CPU heatsink off just to expose a few things a bit better. All of you watching and getting worried about the fact that I'm not wearing anti-static wristband and generally not taking much care out of this, please do not panic, because this machine is toast. I do keep the screws. So what will happen to this when we're done is it will go off for gold recovery for our scrap dealer, and it will be broken up even further. I do tend to try and make his life a bit easier by separating things out. The metal will go in with scrap metal, as you'd expect, and anything that's got recoverable elements in will go through to recovery. And we do tend to take parts out to use ourselves as well. Right, we can see what's going on a little better. Let's just whiz those out as well. Are there ones at the front? So this is something I am intimately familiar with. Appliances like this. I was involved in the original build up and specification of the first smooth wall boxes, so as I say, it is something I know about. How would you... Oh, that's an interesting problem to solve in the next few minutes. As I said, I was involved in the specification of the smooth wall boxes, and I've worked with the manufacturers. We work to overcome issues with the LCDs, how to get data recovery working properly, and all sorts of things that when you start embedding a PC like this, you don't really think about that much. So we're in. Now we have I believe it's a Celeron M in here. For those playing along at home, that is an SL6N7, so that's a Pentium M, 1.4 megahertz, gigahertz if I remember correctly, and 1.4 megahertz, be run by BBC. So we've got a laptop processor here, some local regulation for the processor. We have no SATA slots. That's the first thing that struck me on this and has made life substantially more difficult on trying to do interesting things with this. We have one compact flash slot, one PCI Express slot. The PCI Express slot goes up to this riser on here. I've just thrown screws everywhere. Oh, they're nice long ones, we'll keep those. We've got 4-lane PCI Express here, an 8-lane PCI Express here, which is running a quad NIC. There's probably no real reason you couldn't shove that into a PC. Just the form factor is going to give you problems. We have some suspicious green electrolytics. If you've worked on motherboards or PCs or even TVs, you'll know about these, and they're stuck at odd angles, and I doubt they will put it that way, so we'll have a closer look at them. That might be part of our problem. We have a VGA header here. Most embedded boards like this have VGA. It's very rare it's exposed. I've only seen it exposed on a couple. I think one of the earlier smoothwall boxes exposed the VGA, but the later ones didn't. We have a JTAG connector here. Normal CMOS battery, and then I believe tucked way down the front we have a keyboard and mouse connector, and then two DDR2 slots. I think these were. Quite often these things will be sealed in, so you can't do much with them. We've got dip switch settings here. Where are the dip switches? These may tell us exactly what CPU we've got. So we've got on, off, on, off. So that's a BIOS CPU, and I'm guessing they would be voltage regulator settings. Oh, they're up there. We are in a closed environment, normally in a rack that is going to get warm, so thermals are vital in these sort of things. You can see we've got an enormous sill pad on top of the power supply here. That's been ripped off at some point and chucked back on the top. What have we got power supply wise? 5 volt 30 amps, 12 volt 14 amps, minus 5 at 0.5, minus 12 at 1, and 3.3 at 22. That power supply is well worth saving, and it also appears to be an ATX PSU. So we'll definitely be saving that. So we'll pop that out. We have the header here to the front panel. Let's just whiz that out. Oh, excuse me. Will that just lift out now? We've still got something connected. So we've gone to the effort of making sure everything is on plugs and easy removable except for the earth, which is screwed to the case. Thank you for that. And what have we got here? This hasn't been plugged in for quite some time, so I'm quite happy about handling this. Let's just zoom you down a bit. So here's our power supply. It does appear to be an ATX power supply. Whether it honours, it's 150 watts, whether it honours the power control, I don't know. You've got a hybrid in there. Well, certainly they have connected it. It goes down here. I think it goes straight into that hybrid, whatever it is. So we'll definitely be keeping that power supply because that's potentially useful. And zoom you out again. Yeah. And we can sort of stick to the motherboard a bit now. Right, so we have a front panel control there. That's been hot snotted in and is going to come off with the connector. There we go. That's one of those horrible micro high density jobs. Right, let's buzz this board out. Those caps don't look excessively domed. It's just the way that they're angled on the board, and I realise that this is sledgehammer to crack a nut using this drill driver, but well, sorry, impact driver. How are we doing? We've got one more on the front somewhere that I can't see. Yes, we do. And then we're out. So yeah, there's not really much interesting going on here. And that is, as I say, I'm pretty sure that is just a PCI Express card. You know what? I'm going to try that. I will finish up here. We'll grab that power supply. We'll grab this. We'll grab a monitor. And we'll see if this will work. There's no reason it shouldn't. And there's the board. There's not really much there worth rescuing. Got good quality Marvel nicks on there. But even the processor's not really worth doing much about. There's a look on the back if you want it. You would automatically, if I had managed to get PF on here, be stuck because PF no longer supports 32-bit CPUs. This is not a 64-bit CPU, so that's going to cause problems. Let me just pull him out. Yes, you're instantly going to have problems with that CPU. You could run an older version, but you know, hardware is cheap now, so it's not really an issue. And let's just bring you down onto this CPU for those of you who want to see it. Come on, zoom in. There we go. So I'd say that's a Pentium M, and it is a pinned one, so I believe that's a socket 478, MPGA 479. That is unfortunately gold recovery there. There's not really much call to save this unless you want this chip, then let me know fairly quickly. Zoom you back down. But there we go, we're done with that. That's torn down. We'll get that front panel out actually. That can go in the recycling. And we'll grab those out. We'll have those fans as well. It's unusual in the fact that this is an older piece of rack mount equipment and the fans haven't gone. Normally the fans die fairly quickly. You. This feels a bit like doing an engine teardown from I Do Cars. Any of you that are interested in vehicle mechanics and dead engines should definitely check his channel out. Especially if you like a bit of vehicular carnage. Let's just have this out. Well, that was uncomfortable. I suppose I was asking for that one. Are we out on the front here? We've got a little notch on the bottom that appears to hold us in. No, this is one of those horrible setups. Bear with me. So this was also done on the original Smoothwall boxes. We have a processor board. I wonder if it's even the same processor board. It's possible. Because these are all built by one provider. I can't remember who they are now. So that is a button board, and we have, let's zoom you down. We have what looks like a micro there. I'm fairly sure that's a micro. And we've got a larger footprint for it. That goes off to drive the display on this side. We've got the missing contrast control for the display. You're out of focus. Come on, behave. So I'm guessing that what we have back here is nothing more. Let's use the right tool, shall we? Assuming I have one. What we have on the back here is nothing more than a display on, I'm guessing. Apex certainly rings a bell. Yep, that is a fairly run-of-the-mill. That's a character LCD, I believe. I don't think that's graphics. Nope, that is a character LCD. That will definitely be useful. So we're all torn down, so I'm going to stop you. We'll go get a motherboard and we'll quickly slam in the LAN and see what we can do with that graphics card on my fingertip. Back soon. Right, so junk bin duly raided. We've got a monitor here. I have grabbed some random parts out of the junk bin. We need to find a processor before we go any further. That is a Intel Core 2 Quad. Celeron D. There must be something useful here somewhere. Celeron D. Why have I even got Celeron Ds? That should fit. So that is a Celeron, yep. I've got a couple more down there in case I need them. This is DDR3. DDR2, that's DDR3. That's DDR2. I have literally just grabbed a handful out of the pile. Not overly worried about cooling on this. We're not going to leave it turned on for long enough. So we are right on this. I assumed this was a standard ATX power supply. I might be wrong on this. Sure that was, oh, it's me being an idiot. So power in there. That should be okay with that. Okay. Right, plan B. That's got no ATX 12 volts. Right, back again. And I know everyone has one of these power supplies in their lab. It works absolutely fine. There is nothing wrong with it. Except for the fact that it sounds like it's actually grinding gears. Again, not overly worried about anti-static precautions with this. All we want to do is get this turned on and get a display. Where is our power switch? It's there. What a lovely noise. And we powered up, powered down, we powered up again. For some reason the Gigabyte boards tend to do this in their first boot. And we have nothing, which probably means that CPU is no good. Those of you that are getting quite offended by the way that this equipment is being treated, this is literally old equipment. This will never be used again. It will never ever go near a piece of customer equipment. This is literally just junk that stays here for testing. What have we got in here? G2030, which is probably the one that came off of this board. All of these away. It is possible this board is dead as well. It did work. Possible the RAM's dead. You know, it's not something that's everyday use really. Nothing. Still nothing. And it'll power up again now. There we go. Well, the odds are that this is RAM related. Let me just see if I have any more RAM. There's certainly no good reason why this shouldn't work, but I have other boards. Just try there. Everything is plugged in properly, so if it were going to go, it will go. Right, bear with me. Right, so I'll let you see if you could spot what the actual problem was. Common one on these type of boards, but you need an eagle eye to spot it. It powers up. We chuck the card in. It does indeed boot. Right, so we've got the network card in the PCI Express slot where it booted. We've got booting. We've got a live CD with Mint in there, or a live USB stick. So let's see what happens. We know it boots with it in there. I have got, say, a network cable in there, and this is where it proves me wrong. No, we're booting. I've actually just cleaned that monitor, believe it or not. Now I didn't see, oh, I've moved, didn't see anything there that implied that we'd found a network card. So let's have a look. You can't see that because it's whited out, but it's only showing us one network card. So let's pop in here. I will bring you in a bit more. Hopefully it will. Let's see if I can sort this exposure out. There we go. Let's see if it found it. Nope. Nope, that did not find it. Yeah, well, it's a bit of a shame, but never mind. Just one of those things. Anyway, I think we are now done. So hope you enjoyed watching, and catch you soon.